No, this is work. You can go in as your company. Yes, you can use your network to get things, but don't use people. So that's what I experienced there. Feeling like waking up in the morning is a chore to go to a place. That is the first biggest sign of you are unhappy. If you get an email with a tone that you don't appreciate, get to a space whereby you love yourself enough and care about yourself enough. Welcome to my space. My life and journey is one of ups and downs. Life can be very challenging, but it's when we open up that we find our solace. Let's heal. Let's grow. Let's cry. And you know what? Laugh together. Welcome to Conversations with the Phumzile. Your girl next door. Conversations with the Phumzile, the girl next door. We just had a beautiful conversation with my guest who was here, but you'll have to subscribe, like, share, and actually hit the notification button so that when we upload any episode, you'll be the first one to see, so that you can see who was here and what we were talking about. So as I promised that I will also be doing solo videos, so this is one of them. But before I get into my solo video and sharing what I want to share with you today, I want to say, guys, thank you again for subscribing. I've been seeing the growth, and I've been seeing most people telling me about the platform. So I guess you sharing, you liking, you making sure that I'm seen out there makes a difference. So I just want to say gratitude. Thank you. I appreciate you. So with this growth and with everything that I've been doing, we've launched our website, The Girl Next Door SA. Guys, why I did that? I want to make sure that the platform just I want to put it well. I don't want to put it marketing, advertising. No, I want to put it well. When I started this community, when I started this platform, when the tagline was the girl next door, in my head, and it's what I've seen, that sometimes it's so easy to buy from somebody that you know. It's easy to buy from your girl next door or your born or your neighbor. If they bought something, you are likely to buy, because if somebody that you know and trust a certain brand, they can come. When you recommend, they listen more. Yes, there are adverts. There's everything else that make people buy. But this platform was actually for that. Let's buy from each other. Let's buy, from people who might not even get a marketing or a TV ad or a newspaper ad, because some of the small businesses don't have the budget. So the reason why I'm here, I'm saying you too can come advertise at Conversations with the Phumzile, like very minimal budget. You will be helping the platform this side, but actually you also be helping you. Why us? Why the girl next door? Why the girl next door SA? Because you will be able to come here, share your story. People buy you. Before they buy what you're selling, before they buy the brand, they actually buy you. So your story matter, who you are, where you come from, and why the business that you are running, or why you are the brand that you are. So you'll be able to get that. We give you the time, you come here, share your story, share your brand, then we are able to say, hey, people must buy from you. So it's affordable. And then not only on the Conversations platform, but also on the website, we're going to share as well, share your content on our platforms. Social media is big now. People, when somebody says, like, by now, I know how Cyberite has been such a big part of this. When people will talk about my earrings, and I would always say Cyberite, and I know Lebo, the most gorgeous, wonderful human being, will tell me, Pums, I got somebody buying, and they always say, I saw your earrings from Phumzile. So that's the whole reason why we are here. And I see that I can be that vessel for conversations. So yes, Cyberite, thank you so much for believing in me and believing in the platform and advertising, because you made sure that we do this, I can do this. So yeah, solo video next. Guys, I'm going to share. So I love other platforms or podcasts. I binge on podcasts, but I'm going to come local. So I was tuning into VUCA, Breakfast Show, and they have a beautiful content. I love my girl Titi. So yes, I follow other podcasts and I listen, and I definitely share. And I entered a competition Normally, I'm one of those girls who always say, ke win, nah, I'm not lucky and all that. But because the content was great and I love cooking and I love spices, even though ke na le chomi tse two. So Mnisi, the lazy makoti, ke bona ba two, the chomi tsa ka tse nthusang to cook. But then I entered a competition. Guess what? The competition was for amapelepele spices. I think it's amapelepele African spices, but we'll check it out. Guys, I won a hamper and they came and they delivered today. You know why I'm excited? Because it's a South African brand. It's a South African brand. So those spices, we tested them today. We're doing fish and chips and we're like, let's add some spice. And it was great. I can't wait to share more about them, but I'm looking forward to have them on studio and I'm going to share on social media. You will see the hamper, you will see when they came to drop. I will show you the whole shebang. And this is the girl who wants to bring all the South African local product home. So you must come and join us. And if you need a hookup in my spice, come here, what girl next door. So yes, I'm ready for my solo video. And you know who's here? Ghost Lady. Boo, 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 boo. So she will do the questions, like, hey, Ghost Lady, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Good, good. Hey, energy doesn't lie. But anyway, we are here today. Ghost.
You're shady.
Ugu battery
You're
life.
shady. Nobody needs to know that.
We are here.
Right.
Over to you.
So
what are we
about
talking about today?
What are you talking about today? Do you have an idea?
So, what we're talking about today, I thought it would be great to share more about. Sure. You know how when you grow older and wiser and you've been out there working for the longest time, you get tired, you get a burnout, and you know how you navigate the lifestyle or the life, 9 to 5, what are the boundaries there and all that. And guys, then it's either you decide to be there or you decide to do a breakthrough, take care of yourself. So we're just going to be talking about those, just well-being, boundaries, and living intentionally, in life.
To just get into it straight. First
Cool.
question. What does a toxic or heavy workspace or environment look like? And have you ever experienced or witnessed such toxicity or heaviness in government, NGOs, or private sector companies you've worked for before?
Oh, okay. I will share more in general. I have experienced it, I think, in different levels. I, worked for government before, and the reason I decided to leave there, it was because of the toxicity, the heaviness, the issues, the trauma, the backstabbing, and all that. So then, when you are younger and you are still in the corporate space or in a workspace whereby you are making your name, guys, I was the PRO at the legislature, and that job was a lot. And you work with a whole lot of service providers. But then I didn't, and until you're older and wiser, when I had to look back, my goodness. One, you have important people wanting to force you to do things that are crazy for the buck, for the money, and you are threatened with your job that you would lose a job. So I've seen it all. That was like very toxic and beyond. It's just that good. I cannot even go back and name the things.
I think you owe us a story time after this.
A
story time to dive deep.
I'll tell you more. So I think my biggest first experience of that was previously when I worked for NGOs. NGOs were very easy to work with, and because it's when you're servicing others and your core is wanting to make other people better, or you are delivering a service and all that, and the core is not financial, it's not the deadlines, it's not the what is needed to make it do. So that was amazing. So when I was looking into the journey, when we were talking about, this is what I want to talk about in my next solo video. And I moved to another corporate space. So from NGO, where it was arts, that was amazing, art spaces, like the vibe was, then I moved to government. That's where I felt the first hecticness. Oh boy. Then I moved to another company. My first corporate job. I left within a year. and I'm not even going to talk about boundaries. One, everything was money driven. And the toxicness was when people are asking you to do or find things that are beyond what you can do and offer, are beyond your job description. And, where I came from, when you come, they look at your CV and they're like, oh, you are connected to this and this and this. Now you must go get people, big names that, like, guys, it takes a good email, it takes a good phone call, but it doesn't take favor. Sometimes the toxicness there was for me, there are things that I think as an individual, I respect people. I respect position. I respect power. So for me to be forced to try and find so and so that that person can be part of the program because you know them, you have their numbers and all that where there are no boundaries into. No, this is work. You can go in as your company. Yes, you can use your network to get things, but don't use people. So that's what I experienced there. But within a year, because I couldn't bring those big names that they wanted, because I come from an institution of big names, and because I couldn't bring them. Or actually, sometimes I refused because how I needed to do it was not the best way that I thought it's supposed to be well. Shoo. Then burnout, I can say in my last, I think working space, being in a space for so many years and doing so many things and giving. Yes, you grow there, but you give the company your all to a point that it gets so detrimental to yourself. For the first time, I got to understand that working for so long without taking a break is not a good thing. And if you work, and not take breaks and not take your time out and not actually making sure that mentally, emotionally, and physically and spiritually you are sound, so that whatever you want to deliver at the end of the day, you always have energy for. I got to that point whereby I then met a big burnout. Talking about the big burnout that I experienced, when you start working and you can't even construct a sentence, when you're writing a report, when you even look at that report and you see that I don't make sense. And when you try to be creative, and then when you know yourself that, I'm a creative, I am a this, and I'm a performer, and everything you try to do just doesn't come out, like doesn't even showcase you, one, your skill, your profession, and all that, then I got to understand that is burnout. So I've experienced that in different ways. That's why today I can sit here and say, guys, we need to take care of ourselves, and when we are working, learn to tap into yourself. Every day when you wake up and go to work, find it in you to still be happy to do what you're doing. Yes, you are getting a salary, but if you are not happy to send that email, if you are not looking forward to the next meeting, if you are not looking forward to the next activity, check with yourself and find help out there, because it can be detrimental to yourself.
Awesome. That is a heavy loaded response.
I know.
So you tapped on burnout and everything. So just to give people like a clear view, how can someone tell the difference between a normal work pressure or work environment and a truly harmful workplace? And what are the early warning signs of burnouts in these spaces? Excuse me.
I think I did touch on it a bit. I think when you start feeling like waking up in the morning is a chore to go to a place, that is the first biggest sign of you are unhappy. You are at the point whereby you don't have it anymore within yourself to do what you applied to do or whatever that you were employed to do. That is the first biggest sign. When you get into work environment that is not, I can go back to legislature. When you are asked to do things outside of your working hours, when you are asked to perform in a way that other people around you are not comfortable and are not happy with what you're asking them to do, some of those they can be subtle, but actually it could be those kind of things. Like doing favors that are within your job description. At the end of the day, when you look at your performance appraisal, when you go you are doing everything else that everybody is asking you to do, then you must know, Uguti, now other things are not adding up. But I think for me is, when you now find competition, when people start competing at the workplace where you do something and you see your signs of sabotage, when people are starting to sabotage what you're doing, or you can feel when you do something and people are pointing at every other thing that is an error and a mistake and in the certain type of meetings, you must know that you are not in a good environment anymore. When people are taking care of self and when people are start talking about look after your back, those conversations, even if it's during tea, then you must know there's a lot happening, that the culture is not the proper culture. And I think for me, to be honest, you feel it in your core when something has moved and changed. Where's with the people that you're working with, your colleagues, your boss, your subordinate, everybody that you're working with. Energies can be so real. And if you don't tap into the feeling of where you are at any space, you will find yourself, like, how did I get here? How did I get to a point whereby I'm now negative? I'm now complaining every day. I'm now being that person who every time you speak about somebody, you don't speak in goodness. You don't speak good things about other people. Then you know that now you also have become that culture.
That is intense and heavy. So being in spaces like that would need you to like have some kind of boundaries and self-care.
Hell a lot.
So what does it mean to set boundaries in the workplace, and how can one communicate those boundaries without a fear of backlash and everything? And what are like practical strategies that can help you protect your mental energy and emotional strength during that work day or being in that kind of an environment?
I think I'm a wrong person. Me and boundaries. Guys, it's something that I'm still struggling with because I'm very open. I'm like myself. This is me. This is what you see this is what you get at the end of the day. But I think what I've learned is getting to speak up for yourself. Like, as an example, if you get an email with a tone that you don't appreciate, get to a space whereby you love yourself enough and care about yourself enough to stop it. Respond, and when you respond, you are able to tell the other person that I don't like. And the fear of being victimized, I think that fear also keeps you in a space where you are in a toxic space. I think I've gone through a whole lot of those where I was always the nice person, and even when people, I don't know how to say, but where you feel like actually here I was victimized. This email was the tone was not nice because I'm a feeler. I feel first. I wear my feelings on my sleeve. I cry now and all that, but because I'm a feeler and I don't want to make anybody feel bad, so it's hard for me to set boundaries because I am a hugger and I want to make everybody feel good. But I wouldn't say a strategy. I would say to people, get to know yourself more, get to know your limits, get to know what things that make you perform well, things that put you in the space that you don't like. When you start knowing who you are, don't be afraid to address things as they come. If you can't, find people that you can share. I think the biggest thing, Mina, I would say, I think in the last space I was in, having colleagues that were more friends, where if I'm in my head, you are able to go to somebody to say, I received this, or I had this meeting. This is how I'm feeling about it. Is what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking in my head.
Like another eye.
Yeah, people can give you a perspective because they also know you and they know who you are. And when you start reacting in a certain way, they are able to help you. So I would say I wouldn't like say I'm gonna come here and give you strategies of how to deal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 works. Some employers will say, hey, bring yourself, because when you bring you are actually are able to help the performance of the company because they have the best of you. Be you, don't be anything else. And one thing that I am learning that I didn't do last, speaking up, even if it gets you out of the job. Not that I'm advocating for people to speak up in a way that you can lose what you need. No. But if there is HR, if there's anybody that you can speak to, and now there's good platforms that are like, I will talk about one that I love so much, that I learned about, October Health. AI has built in a whole lot of other things. Like if you can get that answer to say, oh, okay, yes, that is being toxic, or you are being victimized, you are this, so that you get to know what's going on within you. And then there are a few strategies, or there are a few things that such tools can give you to say, maybe look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to do this and
And how
see,
to communicate
and how to communicate better and have this conversation and that. So maybe if I were to help others out there to say, do those things, try and do that. Help yourself, so that you don't then stay in an environment where your health is compromised. And when you are in a brink or of going to an institution for some time because mentally you are not well. You can feel that the person that you know is not there. It's not worth it.
Yeah. So, at what point should someone seriously consider leaving such an environment? What are the red flags that signal that this is no longer sustainable? I know you've touched on it a bit.
Yeah.
But and once somebody decides that, you know what, this is not worth it, like you said, how can people overcome the guilt of or fear associated with resigning? Taking that heavy step.
Yeah, sure. This person, we had a meeting near the company meeting and all that. She said something so profound. I think for me, that was one of the things that we don't talk about, or sometimes you don't hear often enough. And that helped me to navigate my own fears, to say, sometimes it's okay to leave the spaces that you feel that you are not part of anymore, or that you feel like it's not good for you anymore. So when you start knowing and feeling that, you know what, everything that I am and I'm giving here, now it's heavy, I can't give it in my best ability. And coming here, I don't feel happy when I'm helping somebody else. That's a sign. You can't be in a space whereby you are dreading yourself. That is one of the practical, then being here for you, it's either you are staying for a paycheck, but actually the person that the company that you are serving is not even benefiting from you anymore. So it's not about them. It's also about you. Why are you still in a space whereby you cannot even give them the best of you? Why stay? As much as it's difficult to leave because, yes, the economy is bad and a whole lot of things are difficult, you don't just get up and like, hey, ke batla ho tswa. You plan well and all that. But it's okay. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But when you are at that peak where, you know what, you are not doing the company justice, leave.
So, with that being said, what steps should one take before handing in a resignation letter? And how can someone plan financially and emotionally for a smooth exit? Now you've felt and seen, good, hey, this is where I'm at.
This is where I will bring what I've spoke about, I think, in one of my solo guys, coaching, being part of Mind Retirement, transformational coaches. These are the things that you can get help into how. So for me, that was that's how I learned, okay, how do I do that? And the first tool that they gave me is it was, I must go have an exit strategy. Go plan why you want to exit for yourself. When do you want to exit? When you're ready to leave. And when you exit, what are the things that might happen or might not happen? And what is the plan when you're exiting? Are you starting a business? Are you looking for another job and all that? And then if then you know in your exit strategy, then you know with, okay, I'm planning to be at this pace maybe for the next 2-3 years. It doesn't have to be months and all that. Plan well. Because by the time it happens, your mind and your body and all that is already working towards that 3, 4, 5 years plan to say, by this time, I don't want to be here. I want to see myself somewhere else. So that will be one of the things to do. Planning financially is exactly that. You need to then check, okay, if I'm going to leave, should I leave? If I'm going to start a business, it's different. But it's not different, actually. You need to plan for that. Do you have money? Do you have capital? Do you have anything to do that? Financially, you start setting up aside money that will still pay you for the next 3, 4, 6. Or actually, if you plan for 5 years, plan again like that. In 5 years' time, I want to have salary, saved money, so that you don't look into your pension. You don't look, because depending how old you are, where you are at that time. And use the financial coaches. Guys, coaching, we spoke about board of directors. In your life, you need to have different people. You need to have people who will help you financially. That's why I would call a financial coach. Mental, somebody who will help you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and all that. Those people will help you plan any exit or anything. Financial coach will help you count the rounds and cents, look at your finances, where are they, including your family life, so that when you make any decision, or even if you don't make it, they make it for you, because sometimes you can be fired, sometimes you can be retrenched, sometimes it can be anything. They might make a decision. Make it a point that you always have a plan. Find a coach. And this big institution that you pour money in, get those people. They are there for free because you're paying them. Let them help you plan financially so that your exit is not strenuous.
I hear that. So now, with that being said, how can leaving a toxic work environment actually become a breakthrough moment in one's life or career? But also, the dark side of it, how can it become a detriment? Which actually, for someone else, can be a breakthrough. Another person can be detrimental, which the shadow side of that.
Yeah. You are right. It could be either or. It could go south. It can go north. You can never be sure and certain. I think that's why, back to the question that you asked before, it is important to plan financially, because I think the biggest negative, if I start with the negative, the biggest issue is if you leave and financially you have not planned what you're going to do. That can take you down, because when you are stressed and when you are applying and nothing is coming in, definitely that will throw you off. It will definitely throw you off, and it will even get you on debt, and you start now become unemployable, not because you are not qualified, not because you don't have experience and all that, but because your energy, you are now desperate. So it can go not. So that's why the planning, don't exit for the sake of exiting. And even if it's hard wherever you are and all that, don't leave without the exit strategy and plan. And also getting your family to, because when it goes north, you also need family to take care of you. You also need other people to be there with your journey, so that you need to be firm in that. But it can be that when it goes north, but it can be a breakthrough. When it becomes a breakthrough, you can start, because if you don't have to immediately jump into something else or another job, another 9 to 5, another thing, you can start actually doing things that you like. You can start living intentionally. You can start having your own time. You can start making sure that actually you live well, because now you don't have to report to somebody. You are now a director of your own life. You are now your own company. You are now the person that you need to lead. You don't have to be led by others taking you in every other direction that possibly is not yours. So the breakthrough can be, if, again, exit strategy. In that, if you know the plans that, okay, as an example, let's say you take your pension money and you want to run a business. If you didn't plan for that business 3 years ago, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and say, I want to run a bakery. It might fall, because you might not have the skills to run a business. So the breakthrough will be in the planning before you exit. Then you are intentional to say, okay, the first month, this is what I'm going to do. What I did the first month, I went on a retreat to just detox. And I have never thought in my life I can go somewhere for 3 to 4 days to go do me, not work, no emails, not taking care even of my family or my kids or anything, but just to be in a space where I can listen to my mind, my body and soul. I can wake up to go watch sunrise, and I don't have to take a trip somewhere else to go. those small things where you can start feeding into yourself. That's the biggest breakthrough ever, to even rest, to sleep to a point whereby you are able to say, I am resting. I'm not going to get up and do anything that I don't want to do today. Before you even look at maybe whatever passion you had and how you can grow your passion and how you can pour into other people, because there is nothing you can pour out there when you are empty. There won't be any point. So a breakthrough will be knowing yourself and being in a better space first for anything that you want to do after.
Interesting.
In closing.
In closing, if you had one message
Yeah.
for someone listening right now, exhausted, depleted, drained, unsure if they should stay or go, what would it be?
I will go back to I'm grateful from my previous boss. I feel emotional, but if there's one thing that she kept on saying to me is take the time, ask for the time. But because I was a service person, I couldn't in the life of me to say, can I take 2-3 weeks or a month just to take time off from everything that I'm going through within the space? Because the worry was, if I do this, it's because it has never been done and I've never done it before. But what I would say, ask for the time. Take your leave. And when you take time off, use it and rest so that mentally you can recuperate physically and everything. So the one biggest lesson for me working for so many years, and I'm grateful, I call it 50, 50 things to do at 50. So for me, it came in the right time to say, you know what, God, you're going to give me time to just live and not do anything else in my 50 years. I'm going to take a break because I lived for 50 years. That became one of the things that take that break, leave, and don't worry about any other things you would have planned. But plan to take a break and do nothing. If not doing nothing, you can jog, wake up, write, do not and really breathe so that when you get up again and start again, you have the energy to do anything. So I think the biggest for me takeaway from this, if you didn't hear anything, make it a point to take time and ask for time off leave and use all the services, your ICAS, your therapies, if they are there, don't take them for granted. Use them. Call. Talk to someone when you are feeling down. Don't sit alone and cry without getting up into something for you. You are important. There is no job that is important more than you. And people say this, not jokingly, but they say it. When you die and you are employed, immediately the next day, HR is thinking about replacing you. HR is thinking about what would we do before you are even buried. So sometimes it's not worth it. Make sure that you take care of number one first so that you can save your employer. Take a break and take time off. Because if you are not there, if you are mentally ill, you are not even good for your family. You're not good for yourself. You're not good for anybody. So what is the point of you living? That will be the takeaway.
Well said.
Mouthful. And there is a video that I've done about workplace bullying. So you can also reference to that, because I think this conversation is not my first. It's something that has been coming because it was there. So it's workplace bullying. I think I will pin it somewhere. So watch it as well, so that whenever you're feeling somehow in any space, whether it's relationship, whether it's corporate, whether if you need to leave anything that is toxic, make a move. Plan well and make it move. Maybe we're going to talk about how I also divorced. Planned it well. It was not heavy. It was not, because I planned and did the work before. So any big decision, plan, think, and do it right. It takes away the many pressures, even when the heat is on. Cool. So conversations, I think we are done with the solo. Ghost is like Okay, we are done. So thank you so much. So please do subscribe and share and engage with us on social media. So this is Phumzile, the girl next door. Visit the website. We also have the merch, we have the golf shirts, we have the hoodies, cups and stuff. So you can buy so that we can support the platform so that we can grow it and we can continue to bring you conversations that matters. And this is a wrap.